Blessings. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to Womb Wednesdays. My name is Ramona Riley, aka the Vagina Lady and owner of Cosmic Woman. I thank all of you for tuning in on this Womb Wednesday, which is usually something we do on a Wednesday where we talk about something reproductive or hormonal or something that really affects something with the reproductive system. And of course, tonight will be no different. For the past 2-3 weeks, we have been talking a lot about healthy periods and what about periods is healthy and what's normal and what's a red flag. And tonight it's really more about answering the questions that you guys might have when it comes to periods. Maybe how often, how long, what it should smell like. All of these different things are important when it comes to your period and the health of your reproductive system. As always, I love to start with prayer before I do anything when it comes to Womb Wednesdays. And so I'm going to start that there. And then after, we're going to get right into it. If it is that you are asking questions, please put it in caps so I can see, because sometimes I don't see so well, so that will help me a lot, okay? So please bow your heads, do whatever you would usually do for prayer, and I will lead the prayer. Dear God, we all come to you grateful and thankful for the protection, the love, and the guidance you provide. We ask you now to surround us with your healing energy. We also ask you to bring peace to our hearts and our minds. And we thank you for just the healing that has already happened as we listen to our bodies and become more in tune with ourselves. We also pray and ask you to just continuously allow us to absorb the things that will benefit us, the things that will make us a better version of ourselves. Amen. Okay. For everyone who's just coming on, welcome, 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 welcome to Womb Wednesdays. So if you are not following Cosmic Woman, please do so on Instagram. If you're not following the Vagina Lady, please do so as well, and that is on Instagram. If you're not following Cosmic Woman's YouTube channel, we ask you to also do that, okay? We're definitely trying to build it so that we can do more things with our YouTube channel in itself and interact with our followers more. So as I was telling you before the prayer, this last month we've really been tackling or talking about healthy periods. For 1 week we went into breast cancer, and of course it being breast cancer month, there would be no way that I could be having a live and not talk about breast cancer and looking into that and the ways to heal, or the way to treat or to see, to kind of know your body, and of course the tests that we can do to help that. Apart from that, the rest of the month we really focused on periods and the health of periods and really what periods should be. So tonight is really more about questions and answers, so that you guys can have a better understanding of really what a period should be and what your period should look like, what your period should smell like, what your period should feel like. Because as I said before, our periods are supposed to be easy and our periods are supposed to be amazingly breezy. There's no reason that we're supposed to be having all the clots and the abdomen pain and the back pain and the bloating and all these other things that come with our periods. And we think that it's normal because it's always happened to us from the get-go. But again, ladies, Normal versus healthy, they are not the same thing. It's normal for you, but is it healthy for you? It's normal for you to go to the bathroom 2 times a week. Is that healthy? It's normal for you to have clots, but is that healthy? It's normal for your period to smell offensive, but is that healthy? And that's what I really want to tackle. I really want us to talk about that and have a full understanding of what that is and what it should be, so that we're all healing and we're all becoming better health-wise as the months go by. So if you have any questions, guys, please put it in caps, send them down. I would love to hear them. For all of those who are new to Womb Wednesdays, welcome. We are talking about healthy periods and making sure that we have healthy periods. And I want the questions in how to do that, or this is my issue, how does that happen? And of course, a lot of it I definitely will tell you that a consultation with me is always going to help the situation, because I know directly what's going on with you from the first time you had your period to the last time you had your period. So I can create a treatment plan for you that can help that. But I also want to give you tips. And of course, Cosmic Woman does that. We put flyers out and different things out to give you guys tips so that you can work that out. But I definitely want to hear from you so I can help you, because maybe there are things that you can do until it is time for you to do a consultation. May it be financial, may it be the time to find, whatever it is. So please send in your questions. Now, as I told you guys before, there are certain things that are straightforward when it comes to your period and healthy versus normal. And one of those things is the length of your period. Women are suffering with periods that last 5 days. Why? Hi, goddess. 5 days, 7 days, 11 days, a whole month. Why is it that we are suffering with periods that are lasting this long? And a lot of times they last long and they come with all these extra additives, because women don't usually have long periods and they're just long. But the worst thing about it really is that it's long. Few women have that issue. Right now, you will find that magnesium is available in Jamaica. Red maca is still out of stock. So red maca is available. So we find that we really want to make sure that everything is healthy. And the length of your period shows us if something is off or if something isn't off. So a 3-week period, someone is saying right now their period is 3 weeks, is way too long. Too long. Your period can last you 18 to 24 hours max if your period is healthy, if your body is healthy. But that is definitely to that extreme where it's the healthiest. If we take it to that other extreme, or not other extreme, but to the other, if we move it down a little bit more, we'll find that even a 3-day period, ladies, 3 days from the first spot to the last spot. 1, 2, 3. If your period lasts 3 days, that's great. I have no problems with a 3-day period. Not at all. Your period is great. That's a good thing. Can it go down from 3 days? Of course it can. But is it okay at 3 days? For sure. 100%. Another thing we want to look at is the smell of our periods. Because a lot of women suffer from a foul smell, a fishy smell, an old smell. There is an odd kind of smell, even before the period actually flows. Sometimes for women, they find that during that leakage, kind of dischargey kind of vibe before the actual blood starts to flow, they have a funny smell. Your period should smell like nothing. Like nothing. Like maybe just like your vagina. Whatever your vagina smells like. That's what your period should smell like. So if your period smells a little light, if your vagina smells a little light in terms of it doesn't smell metallic, it doesn't smell like it needs a detox, it doesn't smell like that, then your period also shouldn't smell like that. We have to make sure that we listen to the symptoms. Listen to what our body is telling us. If for example, there are many women that before their period and after their period, they suffer from bacterial vaginosis or they suffer from yeast infections. And the reason why that is the case is because their periods are toxic. The period and the blood and all that comes from it creates this toxicity. It creates this smell. It's an issue. It's not normal, it's not healthy, it's not good. We need to make sure that when we're having our periods are not offensive. We're not having clots. So many women suffer from clots. They have the stringy clots, they have the little beanie clots, they have the thick big clots, and then they have the big clots. I don't care if your clot is as little as this. It shouldn't be there. I don't want it there. You need to remove it because that is not what should be there. It's telling us something about your uterine lining. It's either too thin, it's too thick, but something is not right. And so we have to look into that. Okay, we have a question. I have painful periods with multiple mood swings. Length is 5 days. Okay. So, if your period is painful, that's a huge red sign. That's a red flag. Something is wrong. Your uterus is weak. The lining is too thin. Circulation is an issue. There is a problem. So if you're having this issue, Megan Williams, you need to come and see me. Or it is that you need to do an ultrasound and then come see me. Or you come see me and then I'm going to send you to do an ultrasound. Because I want to know what's going on with your uterus. Why is it painful? It shouldn't be painful. Why are you having mood swings and all of that? That's also an issue. So we want to look at all of those different types of things because it's important, okay? It's important. It is important for us to make sure that your period is easy and also your period is breezy, okay? Someone else is asking, what causes clots? Okay, so let's think about the uterus, okay? And the uterus is a muscle, and there is a lining of it. And your period is actually the lining that sheds. Because of course, there was no sperm to fertilize the egg and all of that. So then you get this period. The clots mean that your uterine lining is chipping away. It is shedding too much. That is what it means. So when we're having clots during our period, it's not good. It's not what's supposed to happen. Hey, Pooh Bear, it's not supposed to happen, right? If it is that you just had a baby, you just had a miscarriage, these types of things, that's different because the lining is supposed to shed dramatically because of course a placenta has been connected to it and you're also going to lose, some of the placenta itself as well in terms of if you had a miscarriage, right? If you just gave birth, you even have more uterine lining to shed. So That's the only time that clots are okay or healthy. Other than that, on a normal period, we shouldn't be having that. We shouldn't be having clots at all. We're shedding too much of our lining. And when you shed too much of the lining, it's going to cause more pain. It's going to cause more issues. The uterus is huge when it comes to our periods. Okay? It is basically the main organ when it comes to our periods. Okay, other than probably the ovaries, because of course the ovaries need to be there, because of course if the ovaries aren't fertilized, then of course then the period is going to come down. So that in itself is important as well. But the uterus is extremely important. May it be that it's hurting, it's shedding, or whatever it is. So we have to look at that. I was diagnosed with endometriosis. Okay. So endometriosis, do you know what endometriosis is? It is the estrogen level that is way too high in a woman. And her actual uterine lining, which I was talking about before, it's shedding too much. Or the lining is connecting itself to other parts, other organs in the reproductive system and beyond. So you can have endometriosis and you find that your scar tissue, there's scar tissue that is produced, and the scar tissue comes from the uterus, and then it connects to another organ, and it connects to another organ, and then by the end of the time you realize that your bowels are connected to your friggin' uterus, and it's connected to your tubes, your fallopian tubes, and it just becomes this big hot mess. And it all comes down to the endometriosis, which means that the lining of the uterus itself is an issue. I suffered from a disease called adenomyosis, which is inside of the uterus, different from outside of the uterus. So I wasn't suffering from crazy clots myself, but my uterus, inside the uterus, was growing on top of itself continuously. So we have to look at the uterus when it comes to the periods, because it's a huge, huge factor. How do we fix the clotting? Okay, so red raspberry is amazing for your uterus. It strengthens your uterus. It makes it healthy. It makes it strong, which is what we need. The stronger your uterus is, the healthier it is. Remember, when you're about to have your period and during your period, your uterus is doing this. It's contracting, it's tightening and releasing, and tightening and releasing, and tightening and releasing. And so we have to remember that just with that motion, that can be painful. Then we're talking about a uterus muscle, because the uterus is a muscle. The uterus itself is weak. So now we have this weak muscle that has to be tightening and releasing and tightening and releasing. And that is even more fucking painful. So we need to look at that as well. Okay? To fix it, we can use red raspberry. We can do massages on our abdomen. I would say as well, ginger is great. Ginger is a super food for the reproductive system. Super, 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 super food for the reproductive system. Turmeric as well, great because it helps with inflammation. And a lot of times when the uterus or any body part is swollen or stressed out, that's inflammation. And if we can do things to remove that inflammation, then you find that the pain and the stresses that come with that will be removed. What would you recommend for me? Okay, and you, Megan, have endo. Okay, so there are many things that you want to do, Megan. Okay, number one, you definitely want to make sure that you are on ginger. Okay, because it's going to soften all the extra scar tissue that you have going on there. You also want to be on something like serapeptase, which chips away at the what should I say, the not the lining itself, but the scar tissue. It chips away at that. So you realize that it's harder for it to connect, or it's removing all of that. So it's not connected to the bowels and the this and the that and all these other organs that are in the reproductive system or digestive system. I would say as well that you want to be on something like Vitex. Vitex is amazing for endometriosis, okay? So taking 2 capsules a day, depending on the dosage that you are getting. I know, I can't remember exactly what our main dosage is. Send me a message, Megan, and I can let you know, so I can tell you how many to take. When it comes to that, but you definitely want to take at least 2 capsules if you are under 1,000 milligrams, okay? Because you definitely want more than 1,000 milligrams, 100%. Paula is asking, can I get it in a pill? I cannot bother with the tea. Yes, you can get it in a pill. You can do the red raspberry in a pill. You can put it in your smoothie and blend it up. There are many ways that you can get the red raspberry in. So if you're not a tea person, then fuck it, don't do tea. You want to make sure that when you're healing or when you're maintaining the health of your body, that you're being honest with yourself. You know what I mean? That you know that, yo, you know, Sam, I don't know if me can really go do that, or I don't know where to find that, or I don't want to do that, because then we can find other ways to make sure that we are healing the body and we're getting what it is that you want. So yeah, we can put the red raspberry in a veggie capsule, close it, put it, give it to you, and you can swallow it, and you can take it and drink it with some water, drink it with some orange juice, drink it with whatever. That's healthy, of course. I don't want you to drink it with like Pepsi, right? But drink it with something that's somewhat healthy, for sure. My period finally came after 5 months. Last month I spotted for 13 days. This month it came heavy and it's going for 8 days now. I have been drinking the womb tea. Okay. I'm glad that your period came, because we definitely want to make sure your period comes every month. Guys, if your period is not coming every month, it's a sign. It's a sign. Your body's telling you that something is not right. Okay? It's either telling you, number 1, you're pregnant, or number 2, something else. Okay? But it is definitely talking to us, and we have to listen. So I'm glad that your period came. Okay? Spotting for 13 days after not having a period for 5 months, I wouldn't even stress how long it is that you spot and how long it is that you have the period, unless it's going on for like 3 weeks, 4 months, 5 months, or 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and continuing. Then that's definitely an issue, and I would want to give you something or a treatment to kind of shut that down. But spotting for 13 days, I am not going to stress about, because I need you to have this period. And I need your body to just flow and go with it. After this 13-day spotting and now going into the period, I would want to make sure that the next period is nothing like this. So you're going to want to make sure that you do a vaginal steam towards the end of that period. You're going to want to make sure that you are on plant-based vitamins after this period. That's going to make a huge difference. Plus you're on the womb tea. You should be okay. Does that mean that we're getting to the root cause of your issue? Maybe not. But healing has started, because cleansing is important too, and we want to make sure that we're cleansing. Okay, a lot of times the reproductive system acts all sorts of fucked up is because our body has all these toxins and waste and stresses and lack of circulation and all these other things that's going on. So what do you do to prevent clots? You do some red raspberry, you do some sorrel or some hibiscus, wherever you're from, whatever you know. They're both the same thing. Hibiscus and sorrel is the same thing. Depending on the region that you live, you'll hear different names. I would definitely suggest that 100% to help with the clots. I would also suggest a vaginal steam. It really, really, really helps. So there shouldn't be no type of clotting, do you repeat, even if they're small ones? No. They shouldn't be small. They shouldn't be big. They shouldn't be stringy. They shouldn't be nothing. They shouldn't be there. Again, they should not be there. Unless you had a miscarriage, unfortunately, unless you just gave birth to this baby. Other than that, no clots. Did my first steaming 3 days ago. It felt so good. Awesome. Blessings. I love that. I love that. It really does feel amazing. Is it normal to feel pain after a steam? It actually is not normal to feel pain after a steam. And I would definitely look into what that could be about. It could be just that circulation is starting and the body is not used to that circulation because the blood has been stagnant for so long. And so that could be an issue, or that could be the reason. But we really shouldn't have pain. The steam is really supposed to be relaxing everything. So let me know, Roxanne, send me a DM so we can get into that, because you really shouldn't be feeling pain. Hello, miss, how are you? What can you recommend for fibroids? Okay, so fibroids. Fibroids is an estrogen driven issue. Okay, so basically that means that your body has too much estrogen, and on top of that, fibroids usually means that there's an emotional issue you're not dealing with. When a woman suffers from fibroids, it means that there is a pain, a trauma, a stress, a something that she is going through, which is now turned into a physical entity. So if you were a client of mine and you suffered from fibroids, I would not just be I would not just be healing you physically, but I would be healing you mentally and emotionally as well, because it is the mental and emotional issue that created the fibroid versus endometriosis versus cysts, because they're all estrogen driven conditions. But this trauma, this hurt, this pain is sitting on you, and you haven't forgiven yourself, or you haven't forgiven others. Okay? Is red raspberry safe to drink during pregnancy? Yes, it is. It is. You want to drink red raspberry every single day, or take the capsule every single day if it is that you're pregnant. It is going to help to tone your uterus muscle and allow your uterus to build back after everything has gone down and you have gotten your bundle of joy. So yes, it is important. How did you get rid of adenomyosis? Okay, so adenomyosis, I changed my diet. I ate no meat, I ate no dairy, I drank sorrel every single day. I drank red raspberry till it was coming out of like my eye socket. Like, it was ridiculous how I was drinking those things. And I was also doing a lot of sound therapy and a lot of color therapy. And it really helped my uterus. It really helped my reproductive system. So those were, I guess, the main things. There were probably a lot of other little things, like, yeah, I was doing ginger as well, which is huge. But I'm sure changing my diet and doing all of that healing mentally and emotionally, and I would say on top of that, like, reproductively, I ended up healing it in 2.5 months, which I didn't even think I didn't think it would happen that quick, right? And I mean, let's keep it real. I mean, God is in control, you know, and you know, maybe it was for a bigger reason. Like, maybe the only reason why I got adenomyosis is because I'm supposed to be doing this, and I'm supposed to have Cosmic Woman. I'm supposed to be talking to you guys tonight here on this live. But I was suffering for years and years, you know, wondering what's wrong with me. And, you know, I mean, ovulation is painful, and periods are painful, and every fucking thing is painful. Like, what the fuck? Like, every day I'm in pain. Why? And it came down to the fact that, yes, I have this condition. But doing those things definitely change the dynamics of the situation 100%. Hello, can I come see you? Of course, pretty Kiki, you can definitely come see me and look into my beautiful brown eyes. Of course, of course. Send us a DM, send us a WhatsApp message, and we can definitely set up something so that you can come in and start your process. The red raspberry is so bitter to me. We'll definitely look for it in capsules. Really? It's bitter? That's interesting. I think red raspberry is one of the most gentle herbs that are out there. I think it's so gentle. I don't know if anybody else here on the live has done red raspberry. I don't know if they can agree or disagree with me. But red raspberry really isn't bitter at all, like at all. I mean, to each his own. So I'm not trying to say what you're saying don't make no sense. But that's definitely not usually what I hear. I usually hear that it's pretty easy to go down. Unlike something like golden seal and cerasee and all these other types of herbs. You know, it's a much gentler herb for sure, which is why you can do it during pregnancy, because it is a lot gentler. I want to get pregnant. Well, I want to help you get pregnant. So hit me up and let's work it out. Of course I can help you. I am on day 40 in my cycle and still no period. I have PCOS. So how can I regulate my period? Okay. So there are a few things that you can do to regulate your period. Okay. Number 1, you can do a vaginal steam. Number 2, you can do our tea called Hello Period, which helps to bring down the period. You can also do evening primrose. Evening primrose is great for regulating the period. You can do our womb tea also. Our womb tea is great. It does have red raspberry, but it has other things as well to kind of like help to balance out the hormones and the digestive system as well. Red maca is great for regulating the period as well. Mugwort is also good for helping to bring down the period. So there are a few things that you can do to really help to bring down the period. What do we need to keep our iron count on the right level? Well, iron count, you need to take iron, or you need to eat foods that contain a lot of iron, okay? Like sea moss and kelp and callaloo. Those things have a lot of iron in them. Or you can just buy an iron supplement. Now, if you're buying an iron supplement, please make sure it is plant-based, because a lot of iron supplements actually make you constipated and it makes you like can't shit for nothing. And we don't want that, okay? Because that's another topic we're gonna have to talk about. Everyone should be taking a shit after every meal. After every meal, you should be on the toilet. If you're not on the toilet after every meal, you should at least be on the toilet once a day. When you are passing a day and 2 days and 3 days and you still haven't taken a shit, something is wrong. Something is wrong. It's not healthy. Your body is keeping up the waste and is keeping up the toxins in your body. And those things create all kinds of stress, all kind of disease, waste. Hi, from Texas. Can you share if there is a certain energy or thought pattern that causes problems in the right ovary or right hip? I don't know necessarily if it's a thought pattern or energy, but what I would definitely say is when it comes to the hip and the ovary, there's probably some stagnant blood. There's probably some circulation issues. You probably need to really spend some time and massage that part of your body. I would say massage both sides, but then of course if you're massaging, like for example, if you're massaging the right side and the right is an issue, I would say massage that side for 10 minutes, massage the other side, the left side, for 5. So I would do 5 on the right, which is the issue, 5 on the left, and go back to the right for 5 minutes again. Because we definitely want to create stimulation there, okay? You can also rub on your heel, okay? Sorry, guys. I look like a crazy person. Okay, so inside on the inner and the outer, okay? If you can really just put pressure and get some oil and rub the heel on the inner and the outer, okay? Because one is for the ovaries and one is for the uterus, right? And they work hand in hand. If you can really just spend some time massaging, and you don't want it to be a light massage, you want to press down. If you can do some finger walking, they call it finger walking, when you push down and you walk. Okay, so you're walking and you're pressing down, and you'll be doing that on the inner heel and also the outer heel. Okay, that's some reflexology for you. Okay, so you can definitely do that. No clots whatsoever? Yes, no clots whatsoever. That's what we want. I had a blood clot come out after I did a washout. Okay. We want it out. We want it out, and we want the body to not produce much more. Okay. Hey, what is good for thickness of the lining? Red raspberry. Red raspberry is what you want to do for the lining, your uterus lining, making sure it's not too thin, but it's also not too thick. Okay. What is recommended for PCOS with irregular periods? The last time I saw my period before this month was February. I had to get pills from my doctor for it to come this month. Okay. So PCOS affects your ovaries, okay? It is definitely affects your liver. It is high estrogen. So one of the first things you want to make sure is that you're not eating foods with high estrogen. You're not eating things like dairy and chicken and anything that would have estrogen in it. Okay, and that's the chicken liver and the kidney and anything from the chicken, right? You want to make sure you're eating meats that don't contain estrogen. What you also want to make sure is that you are stimulating your ovaries, because your ovaries are very stressed out if you suffer from PCOS. So with that, we want to make sure you're doing things like vitamin C and evening primrose oil. Those are great to be on. Apart from that, you want to focus on your liver if you also suffer from PCOS, because the liver really is saturated with estrogen. And sometimes with PCOS, it's not just saturated with estrogen, but it's also saturated with a male hormone. So you find that the woman is growing hair on her chin or in her neck or on her nipples or somewhere. Okay, so we want to make sure that we remove that from the liver, because a lot of times PCOS, there are many forms, and one of the many forms is that insulin resistant type of thing, and that is liver again. So we want to make sure that the liver is healthy, the liver is happy, the liver has no toxins in it, it has no extra estrogen and male hormone and all these extra things that it does not need, and all it does is break it down. Okay, what is good for blocked tube? Okay, blocked tubes. So blocked tubes is a different angle. Okay, blocked tubes doesn't usually come from too much of a hormonal issue, but it comes from literal blockage. And your tube can be blocked with many things. Your tube can be blocked with plaque. It can be blocked with mucus. It can be blocked with scar tissue. Most times it is mucus or scar tissue. Okay, and if you have that issue, you want to be doing things like serapeptase. You want to be doing things like ginger. I mean, abundant amount of ginger. You cannot overdose on the ginger. You want to be cleaning your liver. Okay, you definitely want to clean your liver. Blocked tubes. Let me see, what else do we have going on? Circulation is important as well. Castor oil treatments are fantastic, okay, for blocked tubes. It really helps the situation. Can anyone take these herbs for their period? Okay, so the herbs that I had mentioned, yes, those herbs are in the womb tea. So you can just order the womb tea and you're good to go. And you just drink that every day or twice a day and you can do that. In the US, our womb tea is $5. In Jamaica, it is $1,000. Okay. So red raspberry tea won't start uterine contractions? No, they say that, and doctors will usually say that, and OBGYNs will usually say, oh no, we don't want the red raspberry because it starts uterine contraction. But let's keep it real. Most times, red raspberry is not enough to even bring down your period. Like the majority of my clients that haven't seen a period, if I give them red raspberry, their period is not going to come anytime soon. It'll probably take a whole year before their period comes down, right? Because it's really not that strong. It's gentle. Any girl that has had her period. So for anyone on here that has a daughter, once she starts her period, you need to put her on red raspberry. It is going to make her uterus healthy and strong, and she doesn't have to miss school, and she doesn't have to have all of this bloating and all of this friggin' stress because of that red raspberry. Worse if you mix it with little ginger, and worse if you mix those two with a little chamomile. You're good to go completely. What about having a period but not ovulating? Okay, so some women have periods but they're not ovulating, and ovulating is a completely different aspect. If you are not ovulating, what that means is that we have to work on your ovaries. Your ovaries need some stimulation, okay? So things like evening primrose, vitamin C, those things are great for your ovaries. Vitamin D3, that as well is also great for your ovaries. Okay, you see a huge difference. I really need some red raspberry. Well, you can do the red raspberry or you can do the womb tea. Okay, because the womb tea has red raspberry in it, but it also has a red clover, which is good for your hormones. It has dandelion, that's good for your digestive system. Nettle, that's good for your digestive system. Peppermint, that's good for your digestive system. Sorrel, which is really good for your circulatory system. So there's a really nice blend. So it'd be great if you could get that. If not, yeah, just do your red raspberry. Definitely. Good night. A friend of mine who is in her late 40s wants to get back her period. Is that possible with Hello Period? Okay, so she can definitely get her period back. I'm assuming that she probably wants to get pregnant while she wants her period back. So that definitely can happen. I would not recommend just the Hello Period because we don't want to just bring down the period. We want to create the body in a way where the body thinks it should be getting a period because everything is working well and everything is healthy. So I would not necessarily say go get, Hello Period and do that, because all the Hello Period is bringing down the period. We want to get to the root of the issue. And when we get to the root of it, then everything can blossom and grow and do whatever it needs to do from there. What products do you have to help women get pregnant? Oh my God, I have so many products to get women get pregnant. I have like 50 products for women to be able to get pregnant on. Okay? But it depends on what your issue freaking is. Is it your ovaries? Is it your hormones? Is it your uterus? Is it your digestive system? Because I have some clients that can't get pregnant just because their fucking digestive system is fucked. Like literally. So you don't always want to just, oh, this is for fertility and I want to get pregnant, so this is what I'm going to do. You need to find out what is the issue, why you're not getting pregnant. Is it your tubes? Is it your uterus? Is it your ovaries? Is it your digestive system? And is it the blood and your bloodstream? And from there, we can now fix. And of course, if you do a consultation with me, we'll figure out exactly what the issue is and get that shit done, 100%. How do you know when you're not ovulating? Okay, so for those that are trying to figure out ovulation, number one, download an app. I use the Flow app, Okay, FLO. Download that app. The next thing that I would say after downloading the app is to put in your information. Your last period, your this year, that's all that you can do without guessing. This is what you know for sure. When your period comes, you make sure you log that in. Now, during the month, it is going to say, okay, if your period was on this day, you are now going to ovulate on this day. You then want to look at what's happening. Look at your panty, right? Look at your lino. Think about what you're feeling. Because when you're ovulating, there are many signs. Number one, if you're ovulating, you are discharging, for sure. Ovulation discharge is usually a little different than the regular discharge. It's not as thin as it would be during the other time of your month, okay? But you just want to know that you are having some discharge period, because there's some women that are not even doing so. But what we also want to understand or remember is that your app itself is going to tell you when it thinks you should be ovulating. If it tells you should be ovulating on the 13th of November, the 13th of November comes, you don't see anything in your panty. The 14th comes, you don't see any panty. Up until the 17th, you see nothing in your panty or in your horniness or high libido, whatever the hell you want to call it. That shows that that could be the case. Then you are probably not ovulating at that time. When it is that you do see that discharge or that feeling of just heightened sexuality and sexual nature, then you can know that, okay, well, this is probably when I'm ovulating. And so you're going to log that into your Flow app or which other app you have. Okay? It is important to watch it. For me, the app at first told me that I was ovulating 18 days after my period. I actually ovulate 5 days after my period. So as soon as my personal period is done, I am like ready to breed. Ready. But that's not the norm. The norm is 12 to 18 days after your period. So you want to watch it. You want to know your body. There's so many women that I have consultations with. They don't remember when them did first have them period. They don't remember when was them last period. They don't remember what them period look like. We have to be aware because our periods tell a story. I can't say this enough, goddesses. Our periods tell a story. And the story in itself is what? You're either healthy or you're not healthy. And if you're not healthy, we can make you healthy. And if you're healthy, we can maintain that healthiness. The liver cleanse in Jamaica is $6,000. In the US, it's $60 for the large or $35 for the small. What products do you recommend for a pregnant lady that can't sleep? Ooh! You want some lavender. You want real lavender. You want lavender from France. You need to hit me up. I'll give you some lavender. You rub it on the bottom of your feet or you take a bath with it and you'd be surprised how much more calmer you feel, how much more ready you are to sleep. Another thing I'd recommend is meditation. Meditation is huge to help you go to sleep. You meditate and you can't even move. All you want to do is just lock back your eye after the meditation is over and they tell you that you must open your eye. So look into that meditation, that guided meditation, guys, because just telling somebody to go and meditate is not going to help them for one fuck. Okay, you want to make sure that you are doing a guided meditation so you don't have to think too much. Really, all you need to do is just lie down and friggin' breathe. That's what you want. If you want to find info on that, send me a DM, send me a WhatsApp. I can send you some meditation to make you go to sleep. Trust me, I will. 100%. You will sleep. What I also suggest is getting a body pillow. No woman should be pregnant and not have a body pillow, okay? body pillow. The pillow is so long, you can put part on your head, you can put your foot around some part, and you can bring some up all underneath your bottom if you want to, or something. Okay, you got to have a body pillow. I also suggest making sure you exercise, because if you exercise, you will find that you become a little bit more tired during the night, and you will also sleep. So those are things that you can look into. Is it a tea? Is what a tea? Someone saying, I love red raspberry tea. I love it too. I think it's so gentle. It's not that bad. I agree. It's really not. Where can I get the capsules? Well, you can get the capsules from us. So maybe if you are in Jamaica or any part of the world that you're in, you can definitely get them from us. So just send us a DM or WhatsApp, and we can send you pricing and how to get it and where to go and get it. And in terms of if you're going to check the website or if we're going to actually do it over the phone or whatever works. I bought a bottle of cleanse. How long do you recommend taking it? I recommend cleansing for 3 months. It takes 90 days for the blood to be cleansed. Okay, so at least 90 days you want to clean for when it comes to cleaning your blood. And that tonic is definitely cleaning your blood, your cells, and your tissues without removing the good bacteria that your gut needs to fight the bad bacteria. I am pregnant. If I am pregnant and can't sleep, what can I use to get sleep? Okay, I just went through that. Definitely just went through that. Ramona, I need a 1-day period. I want a 1-day period too. My period is 2 days right now, and I cannot wait for a 1-day period. But I will say I do eat chicken sometimes, so that doesn't necessarily help. And I eat maybe pizza every so often. I try to do a lot more goat cheese. So I find myself eating like goat cheese flatbreads and stuff from like Uncorked and all that kind of stuff, because at least there's no dairy in it. But I would definitely say that you definitely want to change your diet for that 1-day period. You want to do a few things for that 1-day period, okay? The womb tea is $5 US or $1,000 Jamaican. I need your help. Well, you know where to find me. Send me a message and we can get this done. We can get this done for sure, sure. Do you have any recommendation for natural pads? Yes. Okay, so I've spoken about this a lot, right? So natural pads, huge. It really helps you to have a shorter period with less pain. So I personally use Cherish brand. I use Jewel brand. I find that those are great for me. If you guys are interested in something like that, send me a message so that you can get that. We have them at the office in Jamaica. We have them at the warehouse in South Carolina, which is where we ship across the world other than Jamaica. So definitely send me a message so that we can get that to you, because I would agree that natural pads, natural tampons is something you want to do. Okay, someone's asking about the pelvic strengthening class. The pelvic strengthening class is actually this week. Pelvic strengthening is tomorrow, I believe. Yes. Pelvic strengthening is for the men. It's for the men. It's basically penis strengthening. It makes the penis stronger. It makes it last longer. It makes his muscles toner. It makes the veins stand up more, and of course that's always better when you're having sex, when you know what I mean, you feel more, your muscles are more turned up because his muscles are protruding, and it makes everything wonderful. Now guys, I'm so sorry, it's about that time, so I just really want to thank you guys for tuning in again to a Womb Wednesday. I appreciate you guys always for not just tuning in, but the support. I also thank you all for the birthday wishes. Thank you. My birthday was on Saturday and it was amazing. I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. I was with some amazing girlfriends from core, and they made me feel special. We had a good time.